You are listening to episode number 109 of Wife Teacher Mommy, the podcast. What to do when you feel stuck. Today we're talking about what to do when you had goals or you created a schedule for yourself, but you're just finding yourself in a rut or feeling stuck without progress. So let's talk about it. Welcome to Wife Teacher Mommy, the podcast. I'm Kelsey Sorensen, a former elementary teacher and current homeschool mom. And even though I've been a resource creator since 2014, I've realized that printables alone aren't all you need in order to thrive as a teacher or homeschool parent. That's why I also created this show and got certified as a life coach to help you finally kick burnout to the curb and feel confident with whatever challenges come your way. With the right mindset strategies and new teaching inspiration, you're going to be well on your way to your best teacher life. Now let's go. Okay, my friend, you are in for a real treat. This is not a trick. You are invited to my birthday party. What? Super excited. I'm so excited. Now, this birthday party is kind of a combination of sorts. So first off, it's going to be a time when we all get together virtually. We're going to give away tons of prizes. We're going to give away Year of the Club. We're going to give away these really cool collapsible bins, a rolling cart, some really fun stuff. We're also going to have a workshop together. So just same as the reason I've titled this episode, we're into the fall now, and it's kind of that time in the school year where you may start feeling a little bit in a rut. Maybe things aren't going quite according to plan. You had some goals that you had at the beginning of the school year, and maybe they're kind of halted, and maybe your schedule isn't quite what you'd like. We're kind of getting into what, even when I went, when you go to your teacher school, when you're getting licensed as a teacher, you may have seen that whole thing where you kind of start having that slump of the school year and it comes back up like it's a real thing. You might be feeling that right now. So at this workshop, we are going to look both at your goals and your overall schedule in your life. I'm going to share my science-backed goal setting process, going to walk it through together, and I'm going to help you create your ideal week. And yes, this is a birthday party for me because I love teaching about this stuff, and it's actually launching on my birthday when you can sign up for it. It'll be happening a week later. So really excited about it. We're going to give away those really fun prizes to some of you who attend live. There will be more surprises and fun. It is my birthday party after all. We might be sharing maybe a Starbucks gift card or something like that, I mean, what? I didn't say that. Anyways, it's going to be really fun. You already have an invitation if you have purchased one of our planners. So whether you purchased it or got it as a club member, club members also have access to printable and digital, so any club member. But if neither of those applies to you, we have a special invitation where you're able to join us. You can get 3 full weeks of Wife Teacher Mommy Club plus our teacher planner. All you have to do is pay the shipping, printing, and handling costs for the planner. We don't make any money off of it when you sign up for this offer. We sold the planner for $49 during the planner season, and they are worth that much. But we want this to be an easy yes for you. We know you might already have a planner for this school year, but we want you to have this one because our planner is the only teacher planner out there that I know of that helps you through my science-backed goal setting process. And it helps you to create positive thinking patterns. That helps you to build habits. That helps you to do so many things like create your ideal week. And most planners, the reason I made this planner is that most teacher planners skip these pages. You'll find them in life planners or business planners, but what I found, and I think it's even because when I was talking to my supplier and about ordering the planners in the first place, he's like, are you sure you want this many pages? They're usually not quite this long, and especially not in full color. It'll cost you a lot more. And I was like, well, yeah, because that's why I created this planner. I didn't want to skimp on the teaching planning part, but also wanted you to have all this other stuff too. And It's just such an incredible planner. I love it. I love using mine. We've had great feedback from those who have received it. We want you to try out this planner. We want you to come to the workshop to learn how to use the planner and how it can help you. And you would get 3 weeks to join us on coaching calls in the club. You can download up to 10 resources during the trial period. So even that trial alone, you get to watch like any of the past coaching calls, any of the past Educate and Rejuvenate sessions. You'll be able to attend some of the calls happening in October, including learning about cognitive distortions, like I've been talking about on the podcast, or open coaching with me, where you can come and be coached on anything. Also about winter blues. And I also have a special call happening at the end of the month, which isn't coaching, but it's going over some of our top holiday resources and how you can use them in the classroom. The club is just such a fun time. You'll get 3 weeks to join us in there, watch any replay, download resources, and it's easy to cancel if you decide it's not for you. We make it easy to join, easy to leave if you need to. Like, there's no calling somebody and jumping through a million hoops. It's just you go to your account and it walks you through the process. You get to do it yourself. You could do it like an hour before the charge and you won't get charged. Like, super simple. So we'd love you to come get the planner, come to this workshop, give the club a try, and come to my birthday party where we're going to have lots of fun. So would love to see you there. Okay, so on today's show, though, I'm going to give you kind of a little preview of what we're going to go over in this workshop. So during the workshop, we're really going to be going over the how you create your schedule, how you set up your ideal week. I mean, I'm going to talk a little bit about it on the podcast, but I really need to show you and have some more time to do it. But today we're going to talk about what to do first when you're feeling stuck. So this is really part one. Like, I'm not going to get to all of this in the workshop because I'm really going to be focusing on the how. So this is the kind of more getting in there, figuring out what it is you need. So in this episode, I have 5 things I want you to do when you are feeling stuck. So the first thing we want to do is to give lots of grace to yourself. We tend to beat ourselves up when we feel stuck, or when we maybe didn't finish things on our to-do list, or when we're maybe not as far as we want to be on our goals. We tend to be like, oh, why did I do that? I should have done this, or I shouldn't have done that, or, I am such a loser, or whatever you might be thinking about yourself. Now, I want to remind you that this isn't helpful. When we think like this, it's not helping us to become better. Sometimes we think that if we say things like this to ourselves, like, oh, I need to tell myself this because I need to make sure I don't keep being like this. But what happens is it just makes us feel worse. What we need to do is have compassion with ourselves and recognize our humanness, have some compassion, maybe even get curious about maybe why was it going on like this? Oh, this happened. I'm going through this, and just kind of having some understanding for yourself. Remember your self-talk. We tend to be a lot harder with our self-talk than we will be for other people. Like, for example, like Christina during our keynote, Educate and Rejuvenate, she shared about that video where she showed people the pictures of themselves when they were younger and said, would you say all those things to them? And no, we wouldn't, right? So remember, you're still that little girl or little boy or child, and you're just the grown-up version of you. So just remember that. And remember to be kind and have a lot of grace with yourself when you're feeling stuck or when things aren't going exactly how you wanted. That's okay. You are still just as whole and human as you have ever been. Okay, so number 2 is check in with yourself. See if you are regulated or activated. And we are going to be talking a lot more about this on the podcast next week. I really, really, really want you to listen to next week's episode with Leah Davidson. She is an expert in the nervous system, but I'm going to give you a little preview today. So what I want you to do is, first, again, all the grace, stop the negative self-talk. But next, we really want to check in with our nervous system and see what is going on. And the way you do this is you ask yourself, am I safe? Chances are you are physically safe. Like, you're in a place like where nothing bad is happening to you physically. Nobody's like hurting you or anything like that. But the next thing you do is check in with your body. Like, okay, I am safe, but body, do I feel safe? And you kind of go in and be like, okay, maybe I don't feel safe. I am safe, but I don't feel safe. And even just recognizing those things, like reminding yourself, oh, I am safe. Even though my body doesn't feel safe, I am safe. Kind of help you notice that. And then you think, okay, I don't feel safe. So then what you do is you kind of go into your body and calm yourself down. Because as Leah says in the podcast episode, the interview that you'll hear next week, a relaxed body cannot house stress. So when we focus on relaxing our body, the stress will melt away. And that's what I've talked a lot about when we are like processing emotions. It can help the emotions simmer down, but when we're dysregulated, we can kind of do that same process to help regulate ourselves first. Okay, the next thing we want to do when we're feeling regulated about it is kind of, once you feel like, okay, I'm regulated, now let's see, what are my emotions? Kind of name the emotion that you're feeling and identify it so you can be like, okay, this is what I'm feeling. So when we are dysregulated, we're really trying to focus on making sure that we feel safe in our bodies. And once we do, that is when we can process our emotions or do thought work, which is what we do with the self-coaching model, which I'm going to talk about in just a minute. So once we were like, okay, I'm safe, I feel safe. Now let's see what else I'm feeling in my body. So that is where we can go in and you can be like, okay, I feel like I'm feeling anxious. I feel like it's, rushing through my veins. I feel my chest kind of tighten up, or whatever it is that you're currently feeling in that moment. And you can process the emotion around it. You can kind of think about what it is you're feeling. Is it hard? Is it soft? What color would it be? Just kind of ask those questions that I've gone over in some of the other episodes, like the one about the back to school emotions. If you really want help with walking through your emotions, definitely go back to that episode. That will help you with processing emotions. Okay, number 4 is get clarity around what you're stuck about and why you're feeling this way. So, I would also recommend listening to if you're really trying to get clear on what you want, what you need. There's an episode I recently did called How to Get Clear on What You Really Want. That is a great one to listen to if you're needing a little bit more help with this one. But so kind of getting clear on what we're stuck with and why you're feeling this way. And how you can get clear on why you're feeling a certain way is with the self-coaching model. Again, this is when we are regulated. We're going to really get into this thought work. And the self-coaching model, I've taught about it on the podcast before, but whenever I mention it, I want to kind of review it a little bit in case you're new. And also what I found, even with our club members, is reviewing it is really helpful because it's a concept that while it's simple, like the 5 parts of the model, you can be studying it like forever and there's always more you can learn about it. So what the self-coaching model is, it's backed by cognitive behavioral therapy, but it's a simple model that was put together by my mentor, Brooke Castillo from the Life Coach School. And it helps us to understand what is going on, how our thoughts create our feelings, drive our actions and results. So with the model, the first step is your C, your circumstance. And that is just what is going on, what is observable in the world. There's no meaning put behind it yet. And then we have a thought about it. And again, those thoughts might be triggered by, and again, our thoughts don't come from nowhere. Our thoughts come from like our context, like our backgrounds, what social media, what is our current programmed thinking patterns, and possibly from our nervous system. Like we have thoughts that are imprinted in our minds from what is going on, what has happened to us in the past. So we have a thought, right? And that thought drives our feeling. So then if we want to get clear on why we're feeling this way, what we want to get clear on is what we're thinking that's causing us to feel that way. So our thought drives our feelings drive our actions. So when we feel anxious, we will do certain things that we wouldn't do if we were feeling a different way about something. We'll do certain things and then we will not do other things. So when we look at our actions, we look at both our actions and our inactions. So like things you are doing and things you aren't doing that might be something you do if you were feeling a different way in this situation. And then the last part of the model is the R, the result. So it's the CTFAR model. So circumstance, thought, feeling, action, result. And the result is revealed by your actions. It's just what are all these actions creating? So let me give a quick example. Let's just do weight loss. That's usually a really easy example. Let's say you had a goal to lose 10 pounds by this point in the school year and you haven't yet. Maybe you haven't lost any weight. Maybe you gained a couple pounds. Okay, let's just say that. And your circumstance is, I have not met my goal. That might not even feel like neutral enough. It might even just be like, I weigh this amount and my goal was this amount. And your thought would be something like, I just can't do this. and that would cause you to feel like maybe sad or upset, right? And then when we feel that way, what do we do? What do we not do? So when I'm feeling sad or upset because I just can't do this, and if it's about weight loss, I might just kind of throw in the towel. I might go to my pantry and get some chocolate to feel better. I might not work out as much because I'm telling myself I can't do it, things like that. And then the result of that, again, this is a lot of times we get a lot more detailed in the model. I was just kind of making this one up as I go. The result of that would be that I'm preventing myself from making progress on my goal, right? So we can see that our thoughts drive our feelings, create our actions and our results. So what you can do is you can kind of do what I call a thought download. You can write down all your thoughts about the situation, whatever it is you're feeling stuck about. Just try to write everything down on a piece of paper. And then you can look at it and be like, okay, what is going on here? And that piece of paper can give you lots of insight. And then from there, you can pick what are the thoughts and what are the circumstances. So remember, our circumstances are just the facts. There's no meaning put behind it. It is what anybody could observe. So from what you write down, what are the facts? What are the thoughts about it? What are the things that are subjective that you think that maybe somebody else might not agree with, or that definitely have meaning put behind it? Separate the circumstances and the thoughts, the facts and the story of the situation. And then you might be able to see, oh, I think it's this thought that's causing me a lot of trouble. You could potentially put that in a model. So you could put the circumstance of whatever your circumstance is, your thought, what it is that you are thinking about it, the meaning you're putting behind that circumstance, how you feel when you think that thought, your actions, the things you're doing, the things you're not doing, and the result, which will reveal itself as you look at the actions. Now, this is a concept that I would love to teach you more about in person, probably not in person, but virtually. I usually teach a mindset masterclass every so often where we really go over this more. So be sure to stay tuned for the next time we are doing that. And we also have a replay version of it you can sign up for as well. If you just go to wifeteachermama.com/masterclass, you'll be able to watch that replay where I really dive into the model for you. So would love to do that. So again, get some clarity around it. The model can be a great way to start with that. And then number 5 is to recalibrate and rebuild your schedule or goals that will work for you right now. Because sometimes what was working for us at one point might not be exactly what we need at this point. And maybe you need a little bit more flexibility in your schedule. Maybe you need some more downtime than you had before. For example, I needed to change some own things in my work-life balance versus what it was before. And I've decided to slow down a little bit very intentionally so I can have more space for the goals and the things that I want to achieve. So the way I like to do this is by creating an ideal week. And now this is more for like your schedule, and then I'll talk about goals after that. So for your schedule, and that's kind of what my example was, you will want to start creating your ideal week. Now, your ideal week is not like something you do every week. Your ideal week is something you do that you create that is kind of like an overview of what you want your weeks to look like in general. So with that, you'll have like a time blocking thing. It'll be like, 5 or 6 a.m. or whatever till 10 or 11 p.m. And obviously you can mark off that you're sleeping some of those times if you are like me. But what happens is then you'll just kind of fill in the blocks of time and be like, okay, in any given week, where are different things going to be? Like, where am I going to fit in self-care? What are the times that I'm working? When am I going to, and let's say, for example, you're a school teacher, when am I going to get into the parking lot for school? When am I going to leave the parking lot? If you're a homeschool parent, you'd have the times that you're planning on homeschooling. And then you'll have, for example, let's say your daughter has gymnastics on Tuesdays. You put that on your ideal week because that's something that's coming every week. But you wouldn't put something like a dentist appointment or a one-time thing because you're just building kind of an overarching bird's eye view of your schedule. That gets to be a starting point for your weekly planning. So you're not starting from scratch every single week. You get to start with this ideal week. So you put in all the things that are like non-negotiables, like the times that you're working, the times that you're teaching, appointments you have, kids' activities, worship services, if you have those that you want to regularly attend. Again, that's your choice. And Then the next thing you want to do is put in your self-care. When are you going to do that? Whether that is working out, whether that is time to read a book, or time to go out with friends, or go out on a date with your sweetie, or whatever you have going on. You can pencil that in where that is going to fit each week or each day. Like if you have a little bit of self-care built in every day, where maybe you have some time to read or journal or write or do some self-coaching and thought downloads, if you're really into this work that I'm doing with you, make sure you pencil in some time with that in your ideal week. So then as you're scheduling your week, you can kind of pull out your ideal week. It's like then when you're planning your week, you're not starting from scratch. You have something to start with every week. So I love having that. Okay. And then the next thing with your goals. Now, with this, you can kind of decide again, like, what are the goals I want to hit? You can kind of reset your schedule. Like if you kind of had like, by this time I wanted to do this, by this time I want to do that. You can just be, okay, let's start with a clean slate. This is my goal. This is what I want to do by this time. And just remember, there's one thing that I saw recently on Instagram that I loved. It was by a fellow coach named Kim Job, who I met recently at the Life Coach School Mastermind. She hosted a watch party at her house, which was my first time meeting her. She's so cool. And I saw on one of her Instagram reels, she had this where she was looking at goals, and I'm not going to do as good of a job explaining it as she did on her reel, but what she had is she had like a stick figure in the middle, and that is you. And then for each goal, it's just like another ring around you. Like you're like, okay, I want to like reach this part, and then you like draw a dot and then the circle around yourself, and then to this part, draw the dot and circle around yourself. So what you realize is, instead of like viewing you as one point trying to get to another point, it's all about you and your expansion. Like you are whole already, and it's just you building out from there. And I loved that visualization to just kind of realize like, hey, I am whole and great right now, and then this is how I'm going to expand into my best self. And setting goals isn't just about the results. So just kind of resetting that and figuring out how you're going to enjoy the process a bit more. And one other thing I'd like to mention, if you're working on goals, I would really recommend circling back to episode number 102 if you haven't listened to it yet, or even if you have, but you haven't created a vision board yet. Because for me, especially now that I've recently revamped my vision board, I feel like it has been so helpful for me to just spend a few minutes each day to revisualize those goals and my why behind them. And also lots of quotes that just help me get into that right frame of mindset, help me to be giving myself so much grace along the way, and remember why I want to do the things I want to do and how I want to show up every day for my family, for my kids, and everything. I love having that. So be sure to check out that episode if you haven't yet. It's free here on the podcast. And if you're a club member, or if you end up taking that special offer I mentioned at the beginning with the planner and everything for just $19 basically to get the planner in the mail and try out the club for 3 weeks. In one of the replays, we have the full workshop that I did all about vision boards. It was back in September, and I taught even more about it. And we also created, the team put together this amazing toolkit to help you get started with your vision board, so you're not starting from scratch. It makes putting it together way easier for you. Okay, so let's recap all of those things we want to do when we feel stuck. So first, and it was 5 things. First, we want to give ourselves lots of grace. It doesn't help to beat ourselves up. Sometimes we think we're helping ourselves by beating ourselves up because we're reminding ourselves not to do the things, but it really has the opposite effect. And when we think positive things about ourselves, it really helps us to go along the journey, right? It helps us to love ourselves all along the way. Number 2 is to check in with yourself and if you're regulated or activated with your nervous system. Basically with this, you're just recognizing if you feel safe right now in your body or not. And we are going to talk all about this next week in my interview with Leah Davidson. You do not want to miss this episode. This episode was incredible, just mind-blowing information you do not want to miss. So make sure you're subscribed. Number 3 is to, once you either identify, yes, I'm regulated, or you get yourself regulated. After that, we want to process our emotions, see what we're feeling, go through our bodies and continue connecting. And then number 4, we want to get clarity about why we're stuck and why we're feeling this way. And the self-coaching model that I teach is a great way to do that. Look at what is your circumstance? What is your thought? Remember, your circumstance is just the neutral facts. Your thought is the meaning we're putting behind it. And it's our thought that creates our feeling. So that is why we're feeling stuck, whatever our thought is. And then when we're feeling that way, what actions are we taking? What results are we taking? And if we want to make a change, we can then see what thought we could switch it to feel less stuck. And number 5, we can recalibrate and rebuild our schedule for our plan and goals to make them work right now. So you can do this by creating your ideal week and kind of resetting your goals, timelines, making sure it's still intentionally what you want to do, and creating a vision board to help you all along the way. So that is a recap of what we talked about on the podcast today. If you want even more support in doing this work, be sure to go to the link in the show notes to check out our brand new incredible offer to join us at my birthday party and planner workshop and giveaway. You'll get the luxury bound planner sent to you in the mail, which will help you apply everything you've just learned today, plus more of the how when you come to the workshop or watch the replay. Plus, you'll get 3 weeks to come to the club and join any other live call or check out the replays, such as that vision board one I mentioned. Plus, you'll get 10 downloads of paid resources from our incredible library. So even just that resource, 10 resources alone, pays for the printing, shipping, and handling of the planner. Like, it's such a great deal. So I hope to see your face at the party very soon, and you won't want to miss next week's interview with Leah Davidson, where we're going to be talking all about your nervous system and how befriending your nervous system will help you take everything you're learning here to the next level. So we'll talk then. Thank you for listening to Wife Teacher Mommy, the podcast. If you enjoyed our time together, be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And if you're ready to take the next step, I'd love for you to join me face-to-face at my next free virtual mindset masterclass. In this masterclass, I'll share my full story of how it transformed my teacher overwhelm and anxiety into balance, authenticity, and a true understanding of myself. And the best news, it'll work for you too. I'll break down my 5-step framework, share inspiring stories that will help shift your mindset, and you'll even get to see life coaching in action. You'll get a free resource and a special opportunity just for joining us, and you won't be able to get this anywhere else. Did I mention this masterclass is free? You've got nothing to lose. All you need to do is sign up, add it to your calendar, and commit to showing up live. Go to wifeteachermommy.com/masterclass to sign up, or head to the link in the show notes. I will see you at the masterclass.